Welcome. We're letting everybody pile in. Mary Catherine, how are you?
Hi, I'm back.
Oh, I haven't seen you in forever. So glad to see you. Oh,
Thank you.
Okay, and then Mitchell, hi. Nice to have you.
Good to be here.
Dave Bagley, I see that you have joined us. Don't see you on camera, but I hope you're ready to participate. And then Ella, hi, from Bidinger and Estelle. So I just wanted to welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. For those of you that don't know me, I am Lisa Rozier. And if you can see on your screen, we are joined by a bunch of people that are part of the Guidr and Lawyers of Purpose team. Bethany Mackey, she's with us. Dinesh Chawla, he is our Guidr ambassador. Bryn Simpson, hi Bryn, I think this is your first one. Thank you for joining us. Leslie from our marketing team. Guy Reedman, hi Guy. He is in the UK. Eric Kubala is with us today. He is a part of the LWP team, but also is going to share some awesome insight of what he's been doing specifically with Guidr. Andy Beacock. Andy is our Chief Technology Officer. And so if anybody has any questions about the tech side of the platform, Andy is here to contribute to that conversation. Mr. Dave Zampano, thanks for joining us. And then Brianna, there you are. Hey, Bri. So Bri also, for those of you, brings the perspective from a law firm as well as the operations side of the house as well. So this meeting is being recorded. So if you have to share it with anybody from the team, your individual teams, please go ahead and share the link with them. But as always, I like to jump in. We have 1 hour of a great conversation. This is a great open discussion for those that haven't been with us in the past. I do see someone joining us shortly. I don't have a name yet, but hello. And I'd like to open up the floor with questions that you are looking to get out of today's conversation. So Mitchell, I saw your hand go up, so let's jump right on in.
Okay, I'll jump right in. So I got a question. I did one Guidr as a test, and so I could try to see how it works and whatever. And one question that it looks like to me, so when I do wills, we have a special provision in Tennessee I like to include in my wills, and I've never gotten it really on the I guess the LWP platform, but so when they do it on Guidr, they use that platform, but all I get is a PDF of the document. How can I make or add that this provision that I need to add into a will for Tennessee when someone does it on Guidr?
Is it a state-specific provision?
It's probably more specific for Tennessee, yeah, than any other state.
Okay.
Mitchell, is it a standard practice across the state, or is it attorney specific, like attorney?
It's probably more attorney specific, but in Tennessee, we have this strange provision where real estate passes at death. And so if the estate administrator wants to use the property, or they need the property for more than 4 months, judges around here don't allow the estate to spend any money to maintain it, to keep it, or what have you. So I have to put special language in the wills that allow the state administrator to do that. And I don't know if I know some attorneys do that. I don't know if all of them do it. It's just very valuable for me. But it still brings back the point. I don't know how to do that on Guidr if all I get is a PDF of a document and I don't have a way to modify something before I have someone sign it.
Right. I mean, Bethany, I see you're off mute. Do you want to jump in or?
Yeah. So for the real goal for Guidr is for you not to have to be making any edits or adding anything to that will. The goal is for it to really be kind of sufficient, kind of hot off the presses and ready to go, right? So it doesn't take more of your time. With that being said, if there is something specific that is best practice or something, for your state, we have kind of a review and assessment process. So I would ask that you submit whatever the language is and what you think may be kind of needed for Tennessee. That will go to Britt, who is our kind of product owner for Guidr. She'll do a thorough review from both a legal perspective as well as from the product side. And then we'll get back to you on whether or not that can be added.
Mitchell, can
Yeah.
I explain one thing, Bethany? This is a challenge we have always, right? So whenever we create documents, we have to make sure we're maintaining the standards.
Yes.
Among those standards are levels of standards, right? So your basic entry level attorneys, you have other attorneys that have 55 different special clauses they like. So Guidr's never going to be that 55 special clauses, but it wants to make sure it maintains that minimum standard required in the state. Remember, these are low price documents. These are not, right? Now, that being said, if you submit your language, what does help in the cause, and this is for any attorney, if it's a hardwire, so there's what we call a hardwire change versus a software change. A hardwire change is we need to add a paragraph, okay? When we have to add a paragraph, that's a very different programming, very little to put in a paragraph as opposed to putting in a paragraph that has to trigger off a question or a series of other options. That's much more complicated and comprehensive. So when you ever submit language, it's important that you identify the language when Britt reviews it, and then she has a development review board. And then what happens is identify when it's triggered. As if it's all the time, that's a much easier modification than if it requires specific questions or thoughts or processes to determine whether or not that language should be entered. So just something to think about big picture.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mitchell, we can follow up offline on this as well. But thank you for bringing that up in discussion, and I appreciate it. I do want to, Dave Begley, I see your hand, but I just saw a couple additional people join us. So I just wanted to welcome Leah and Michael Wingnet Hernandez and Madison. I don't know who you are,
And
but
they're
hi,
raising their
Madison.
hand too, it looks like. Are you
And
saying
Sid.
hello, Michael? I don't know if you're saying hello or asking. Right. Good, cool.
Actually, I wanted to clarify the situation that you're just describing.
Okay.
Apparently, Mitchell has this language that he likes to have in his wills in Tennessee, and he can submit the language. You can decide whether you want the language to be a part of what ends up as a PDF. My question is, if he submits that language and you accept it, will his new language be included on all like documents in Tennessee, or will they only be in his documents?
So that's one of the kind of review processes, and part of that is to make sure if it's language that we feel is appropriate and necessary across the board, it would be included across the board. We are working really hard to make sure we're not customizing things by platform. So we're really keeping it overarching and not specific to each individual attorney, because otherwise it would be kind of a little bit chaotic from a technology perspective. So if that language is deemed necessary and proper for across the board, then it would be in all of those documents for Tennessee across the board.
Okay.
So I have a follow-up. I'm sorry to monopolize the conversation, but my follow-up question is, let's assume for a moment that this is an enhancement that Mitchell is offering to his clients and that he doesn't really expect to see across the board in Tennessee, something that differentiates him from his colleagues. And I have some of those things myself. And you determine that it won't be in the document that's going to be produced statewide in Tennessee. Is there something about Guidr that would allow me to have the client make a selection that says, I want this additional enhancement for, let's say, an additional $25 or whatever it is, and have it show up in the document? Or is that a more sophisticated version of Guidr that doesn't exist yet?
So that specific amount of customization would be a more sophisticated part of Guidr that doesn't exist yet. We do have add-ons. No problem. We do have add-ons within Guidr, and we're actually kind of reviewing what that structure looks like right now. So this kind of conversation helps us as we're moving forward.
Well, Michael, what I like about your comment is this, we do have add-ons, but again, those are now not even state specific, but national specific, right? Do you want a trust for underage minors, right? So that's kind of a global upsell, as we call it. I like the idea, so I'm going to take under advisement your comment that again, it is much more complex to add what we call toggles, where you could toggle things on and off. But it is interesting because what I like about it is a revenue raiser. So let's say, for example, I'll go back to Tennessee. If Mitchell and the Tennessee attorneys said, look, here's 3 different provisions we do in Tennessee. The basic standard people don't do them, but we would love to be able to do them. Is that something we can do? The answer right now is we can't. We can do that programmably, and we can program that in to do that. We don't have the bandwidth right now with all the priorities of stuff we're programming to do that. But I like the idea of it. And I will say it's open for me that when we do get that freedom and, you know, we're able to do that, that is something I think we would consider.
Great.
But don't look for it in 2023.
No, I think I assumed that this idea would eventually make its way into Guidr. It's just a question of where we are right now. I get it.
Thank you for those great questions. Dave Begley, thanks for your patience. I see your hand, sir. Are you there?
You must be muted.
He's not showing that he's, oh,
No.
now he's muted. Now he's back. Dave, we can't hear you.
Yeah, it says he's
All right,
unmuted.
maybe we can use your chat feature. Okay, so when we get your audio, Dave, just hop in and let us know you're here. But I also see Tom Olafson, you just joined. Hi, Tom, you're in the car. Thanks for your commitment. Michelle, hi, thank you for joining us. So we got a lot of new faces joining in on the conversation. Any additional questions that we want to bring to the table before we start talking about some marketing stuff? Oh, David Wood. Hi, David. Sorry, I missed you on that.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, thanks for joining in on the conversation.
Hey, I heard you ask or welcome Madison. My team, Maddie and Maria, are joining, and
Perfect.
that's probably them. Both of them.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm glad. Thank you for the clarification. So
Sure.
we have a lot of new faces. Wondering about from the operations side of the house, how's everyone doing with their team getting involved, embracing the platform? And would anybody be willing to share how you are utilizing Guidr within your law firm from a marketing perspective, from an internal perspective? Madison, did you come on camera and go off mute so you could share your information?
I did.
Okay, awesome.
We've actually just been going over the marketing materials. I'm actually doing that right now as we kind of listen to this. But we've really kind of used all those Guidr documents that are on the Lawyers with Purpose website. So we've got a big collection of those that we're going to email to Leslie, I believe.
Yep.
So there's a lot of good stuff there. That's pretty much what we've been doing with that in the past week.
Okay, great. David, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, David Wood, how do you plan on utilizing Guidr within your law firm?
Well, I think probably in ways similar to what others are doing. There's a segment of the market we realize we're not addressing or capturing at all, and we want to. I've had over the years many clients come in that have done legal doom documents and they need to be fixed. And I don't want those people to have to go to those sources in order to prepare good legal documents. So we're going to hit it really hard as soon as we're up and ready.
Awesome. That's great news. So Erich, we have with us today. Erich, thanks for joining in on the conversation. I would love for you to give some insight in terms of how you are structured right now, where you are licensed in one state and live in another, and all the different marketing messages that you have been doing. I love your approach, and I thought it would be great for you to share some insight with the fellow attorneys on the call.
Sure. So I'm a licensed New York attorney, but I realized I was far too far away from Tom Olafson, so I decided to move to Chicago to be closer to him, obviously. And so, and even before I made the move, most of my even traditional planning, a lot of it was done remote, obviously, except for in-person signings and whatnot. But so it was not that big of a leap to move over into something that's a little bit more online based, or a lot more online based, like Guidr. And so I guess the approach I've taken is to start to think a little bit more like the people that would use Guidr, and think about what's happening in their day-to-day lives, and find those things that come up where, geez, Guidr would be really good. It would be really good for me to have a healthcare proxy power of attorney before I do my, study abroad for 3 months in some, random country somewhere. It would be really nice if mom and dad is going in for surgery, if I knew what it is they wanted, if there was an emergency and they had me or someone else appointed as their healthcare proxy. If I'm a parent, my kid's going to college, you got this huge packing list. Is a power of attorney, is a healthcare proxy for your 18-year-old child, who you will no longer legally be entitled to healthcare information just because you're a parent. Do they have those documents? Maybe that's something you need to have them do before they go off to college. So thinking a lot about stuff like that, and then just creating fairly short videos. They're not uber fancy. It's, my shaky cam arm on my iPhone in front of, right now, my go-to place is my fireplace with my little Buddha and my dog's ashes in the background. And just little videos just explaining all the ways that Guidr can make people's lives better. Then the other thing I've been trying to do is to organize some things around kind of thematically. So October, Halloween, horror stories. There are so many great estate planning horror stories. So that was the theme for October. It was just horror story after horror story. And they're really great examples, particularly to the point of people coming in with their LegalZoom documents. There are plenty of articles and situations out there where people have done that unsupervised online will planning, and it's gone horribly awry. And those make really great videos, because you can say, here's how they went wrong. Here's how you won't go wrong because there's an attorney in the midst. Another thing, and sorry, a little scattershot, my shotgun approach, Lisa. One other thing I've been starting to do now is to really look out for financial advice articles. They're all over the place, and they mostly have really good advice. But one thing they always say, and I just posted one just the other day, they'll say, hey, there's plenty of online options for getting your will done, but we always recommend you work with an attorney. So I've been trying to find those articles, and then I call out that specific sentence, and then I say, hey, guess what? What if you could go online and not have to give up having an attorney involved in the process? That's exactly what we're doing with Guidr, and kind of pointing all of that out. Hey, here's really great advice, but guess what? You don't have to choose between going online or working with an attorney.
But you're using that third-party credibility.
And using that third-party credibility. So, yeah, and I really try to just kind of keep it a little fun. Don't try and make it too serious, and really just, again, finding like everyday moments where you can say, hey, you're going to take motorcycle lessons. Maybe you want a healthcare proxy. It's a little kind of goofy and funny, but it's something I think that can resonate,
Right.
with people and understand why they're doing it. And so my goal, I think, Lisa, and we're going to talk about this hopefully sometime soon, is really to develop more of a thematic calendar throughout the year. So like February is coming up. I want to do a whole month of love stories, all related to estate planning and protecting, right? Because the thing I always talk to people about is that estate planning doesn't do anything for you, the person making the plan, because you're dead. You don't really care what happens. But it's really about it's really about protecting the people that you love who are going to be left behind. So to me, February is a great opportunity to really push that message and have all our videos kind of be about that. And maybe build out maybe more of a thematic calendar throughout the year, where we address certain themes or yeah, stuff like that.
So for those that are listening, this is great information, Erich. Thank you for sharing that insight. So one thing that Erich does have is a marketing plan, kind of like an accountability scorecard for his Guidr. And we literally set our goals weekly and monthly, goals in terms of how many workflows we want started, how many workflows we want complete, our revenue goals, in addition to your marketing journal. That's what we've been calling it. So just as important as it is to have your scorecard from a revenue side of the house, it's very important to have that marketing journal per se. And everybody is going to be a little bit different. Erich is virtual. He is really working the digital side of the house. He is doing a lot of email marketing and a lot of social media marketing and dropping the link and driving people directly to his Guidr landing page. So I really appreciate that insight, Erich. It was helpful, and hopefully that gave some of our participants some ideas from a marketing perspective. We do have a couple questions in the chat feature, so let me just jump over to that really quick. So Bryn, you said social workers in hospitals are great contacts, so many emergencies with folks of all ages, and they're typically unprepared. And then let's see, Michael, you put mainly to Erich. We haven't subscribed yet, although it seems clear that we will. Are you finding that Guidr fees are supporting the onboarding process you are doing, or are you having to invest money in getting the platform up to speed? So Erich, oh, what was that?
Oh, so it was just, I was going to give a little bit of insight into kind of how the onboarding process works. Just because I walked them through that, but I'll let Erich answer first, just to.
I have spent the whopping sum of $0 to get Guidr up and running. I've spent exactly $0 in getting all my marketing stuff out. It's all, I know I gotta be younger and probably get on whatever InstaSnap or whatever that thing is that I'm like 20 years behind on. Probably be better served getting onto a different platform instead of the the Facebooks and all that.
Yeah.
But it's I haven't spent a dime either onboarding, creating, or building content. I spend about an hour a week brainstorming and then another hour a week filming.
I love it. The other thing that I just want to put out is that you like that kind of stuff. So there might be some people on this meeting right now that just don't like marketing. And that's why you find the people and you align yourself with your who's, either within your office or somebody that is within the community at Lawyers with Purpose. And we really work together to build your marketing plan, because it's important to have that to be complemented to your scorecard. So Erich, you love this kind of stuff. For those that people don't know, you have a theater background as well. But for the people that are like, marketing, that's kind of, I'm going to toss it over to Bethany, because this is where we would help you with the onboarding and figuring out.
Can I just add one other thing before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. I love doing it. I think it's fun. Even if you don't, the only thing I would say is just be authentic and be yourself. And that's what people care about. And even though it's online, knowing, because there's a real person attached to it, because it's not, a nameless, faceless corporation that you can't ever get anybody on the phone. I think that just if you're yourself, you're authentic, whatever you say, people are going to find some way to respond to that, and people respond to authenticity. So like I do it the way I do it. Don't do it that way necessarily, unless that's the way you want to do it. Just, find something, get it out there. And the other thing, and, I'm notorious for this, and it's something I always have to work on with myself. Done is better than perfect. So it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be broadcast quality. I swear to God, it's me and an iPhone and my shaky arm. Don't stop. Don't, like, if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. It's actually, actually makes you seem more authentic if you stumble a little bit or have to re-say something. That's not what people are looking for. They're looking to understand who you are, feel that you are trustworthy and authentic. And then if they find a message that responds to them, then that's what'll make it happen.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. Bethany, talk about that onboarding process.
Yeah, so one of the things, so that the support you'll get when you sign on with Guidr, and some of the folks on the call can talk to that, but you'll get kind of your welcome email, and then you'll be setting up time with myself and Bryn, and we will walk you through that process. So we will walk you through getting your platform set and ready. We'll walk you through all of the resources that come with Guidr. So there is already set marketing resources. Leslie will then be your next stop on that kind of path, where she will walk you through all of the opportunities there. And I think it was Madison who said earlier that she has kind of a list of things that are going to go to Leslie for her team to work and help customize that for Madison and their team. So you have really a backing of a whole team behind you when you sign on for Guidr, and we will work to get you live and really work to meet your needs and goals.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so before we jump into a couple other things, Dinesh, have you seen anything new on the forefront in your neck of the woods in Michigan from Guidr? Any new connections, success stories, roadblocks, anything as you're driving? I love the commitment. Everybody driving. Love it.
No, I still have to get on my local sheriff department's schedule to do a lunch and learn.
Okay.
But that's my own fault. I haven't been very diligent in reaching out to my contacts there. But that is one of the major focus points that we're working on right now is law enforcement and first responders.
Okay, great. That was a great conversation. How many of you were at Taper last month? And can we just show hands where Bree talked about that? All right, so a couple of you weren't. Madison, were you there, Madison?
No, I actually wasn't. I think I'll be at the Atlanta one though.
Okay, great. All right,
Yeah.
awesome. So let's see. And then Ella, I know you're on mute and I don't see you. I don't know if you're there, if you're working and listening, but I don't think you were at Taper as well. So Bree, for our first time, do you mind just giving a quick refresh about the lunch and learns?
Yeah.
Responders and a quick, 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, I can. So it's easier to get in with the fire departments. We're having a little bit of struggle with the sheriff's department and the police department because the guys are on the road. Whereas with the fire department, they're waiting for a call, right? And so we did it with 2 in the area. We did it with the Utica Fire Department, which has about 276 people, because I made the mistake of calling them all guys, knowing that there were 2 women on the department. And so what we did was we worked with their captain. Is it captain? Chief, their chief. And they knew that they were trying to get their guys protected because not only were they bringing us in, they also brought in an insurance specialist. They brought in a retirement specialist because these guys are young that are joining the department. And so with Utica, because there was 276, we got in front of approximately 120. And they want to schedule something again for the spring. And we did 30-minute sessions where we came in, we explained who we are in the community. It was nice because I knew some of the guys, I went to high school with them. So it was nice to be like, oh my God, you guys didn't even know you were still in the area. And so we just did, and we provided you guys with the PowerPoint, and it was really just here's why you need a will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney. Out of the 120 we got in front of, because each session, I always ask, how many of you have an estate plan already? Out of the 120 people that we talked to, 5 raised their hand. I think it was 5 or 6 actually had their planning done. And the rest were looking at us like, oh, I didn't even know we needed this. And so we brought them, you know, one time we brought in cupcakes, one time we did cannolis, one time we did tomato pie. I mean, we did the local fare. But again, that's because I think we should feed people while they're listening to us. But you don't even have to go that far. It's just, if you have the relationship, we reached out to the chief because our professional services coordinator at the time, again, went to high school with him. So she's like, I'm going to take a shot here. And so you really utilize your relationships and reach out to the people. Like I said, fire department, and then we did the Rome Fire Department, which is about 20 minutes away from our office. And the Rome actually led us to 3 enhanced asset protection plans, a Medicaid plan, and a probate. Because while we were coming in saying, hey, get your documents through Guidr, because you guys are running into burning buildings for a living, we then were fielding other questions around some more in-depth topics, because these guys have businesses outside, you know, they work 4 days a week, and then they have landscaping, or they have construction, or, you know, my eyes were opened a lot to what else goes on, you know, with people that work in public service. And so that was really what we did with the fire departments. And we're in talks right now with Utica to possibly give them their code, and they would give it to all of the new trainees that are coming out of training camp, so that this is just something that the Utica Fire Department offers to say, hey, you know, and they're working currently to see if they can get it paid for through the fire department. They're working that right now with the union, and you all know how unions work. So, but again, these are all conversations that we're having, and we would have never have gotten in the door if it wasn't for the fact that we have Guidr. We are the only people in our community right now that offer Guidr. And so again, it kind of gives us leverage. And one of the things I did put in the chat is, for anyone talking to anybody about estate planning, yes, every single if you're on this side of the earth, you need an estate plan. And so now, instead of people saying, well, I don't need the trust, or I don't need that right now, it says, okay, but you still need a will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney. And now, instead of them saying, well, I'm going to think about it, we send them to Guidr so that they can do it on their own terms, the way that they want, and say, you know what, you just need the simple stuff now. We can, you know, estate planning grows with you, so we can always build on it in the future. So I'm done now. Was that good, Lisa, or you want more?
No, that was perfect. Thank you, Bree. I just also wanted to mention that the lunch and learn concept that Brianna was talking about can be found in your Guidr section of your member website, which it has the whole entire PowerPoint, some additional support collateral, and elements like that. I do want to just shift the conversation slightly. Michael, you had put something in the chat feature, but I would like for you to bring it up in discussion so we can have a conversation about it.
So I think what you're asking me is to say out loud what I wrote in the chat or something like that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So we have spent years developing an aesthetic for our trade dress that we like, and that that we think conveys something about us that's different that's distinct from our competitors. And we feel like that the trade dress around Guidr, while certainly distinctive and expressive of a new way of doing things, doesn't really correspond very neatly with what we already have going on our website. And so I guess I just am wondering if there are already resources where this conversation has occurred. I mean, because Guidr is a very distinctive and very, I should say, sort of a loud signal, visual signal that, I think on our main page we would like to suppress a little bit, but perhaps have a landing page. If people are looking for information on our main website, we don't want there to be we don't want it to be jarring, but there needs to be an early opportunity while people are just looking for free information for them to click and opt out of the high dollar work that we ordinarily do in favor of, landing on a page where, it's completely different. It's a completely different proposition. And I just wondered if there's already been a lot of conversation around that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I see Brianna raise her hand, and so did Guy. I do want to say that we can probably have additional conversation, more in-depth one-on-one. Conversation has come up. It hasn't been in a Guidr roundtable discussion, but it's part of your marketing plan and how you want to show up. And so I'm going to go ahead and toss it to Bree and then over to Guy. And thank you for clarifying your question.
Yeah, so Michael, this was, full transparency here. This was one of the things I was concerned about because our colors are red, white, and black. And the red can be very like in your face, and it's what we're known for. And so now we just play it up and say, go to our website and click on the purple button, because it just distinguishes that this is part of the Estate Planning Law Center, but we've made it purple because we wanted to make sure that you all saw it on the website. And it kind of flows with the layout of our website. We have the different buttons of whether you're in crisis, planning, a professional. And now we said, click on the purple button if you want your online documents, because it's the Estate Planning Law Center has partnered with Guidr. And so we haven't really seen much of an issue with it. It just, it makes it an easier talking point and makes it stand out more on the website.
It occurs to me that Guidr probably already has like a style sheet that has all the trade dress and the different color schemes that are available. And if we were to look at something like that, we might find a button or something that could be made into a button that we could put on our front page that would be that would meet our standards, right? Without additional effort or dollars expended.
Yeah, so that is part of the onboarding process when Bethany was talking. So Leslie, raise your hand, Leslie. So Leslie will go through all of that in the marketing department with you. If you and Bree do have a conversation ahead prior to making your next steps, or if you want me to jump in a conversation, we can give you a little bit behind the scenes look of what those elements will be. But we provide you with a plethora of different Guidr elements. Yes, there is absolutely brand guidelines that go along with the Guidr brand. It's a national brand. It's just like if you were doing LawPay and you had to do the LawPay button, you put the LawPay logo on your website. So we understand this, and we will absolutely work with all of our members to make it fit where it needs to be. We even put, like in the services section, we put a drop down that says online legal documents. Like there's just certain elements that we can absolutely work with you on. Guy, I saw you took your hand down, but I didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll just
hear from you.
add to that, and I'll just add to that and make just a more general point actually. But I mean, Michael, if you look at the Zoom images, you can see actually that we've got slightly different backgrounds within Guidr. And you're right, we had a marketing company, and we've got like I guess most companies have a brand guideline book. So we have slightly different colors we can use that, we're happy with, if you like. So, you could go the whole route like Leslie and have a big purple kind of background and button, and then have the green Guidr logo, or you could do something a bit more similar to the one I've got with, and I know Bethany's got as well, and Andy, where it's just the purple logo. So you can tone it down. And the other point I'd make is that people are used to this way of doing business now. This is probably pretty normal. So this goes to the documents to a point as well. There's certain things that people expect with online systems, and I guess we're no different to people like Airbnb. If you look at Airbnb, landlords will put the Airbnb logo on their website, whether it clashes with what their website looks like or not. So whilst I take your point that you want to make it aesthetically, pleasing, and I think you can with the various options that we do have, I also think that people, kind of expect to see something slightly different, because ultimately what you're doing them is you're helping them solve a problem. For whatever reason, your fully personalized service isn't appropriate for that particular person, but you want to offer them an alternative, which is what people expect nowadays. They expect to be offered alternatives, and your alternative in this case is for them to click through on Guidr and to go through a slightly different process, not personalized. And that goes to the documents as well to a point. You know, that's one of the reasons why we really haven't gone down the heavily personalized document route, because you know, people don't expect that. They're paying a little less money because they can't afford to pay the full fee, or they don't want to come into your office, or whatever the reason is. So they're used to, you know, using the internet in this way. And I think part of our role here at Guidr is to educate all of the members, all of the LWP members, as to what people's expectations are and how we can help you guys meet their expectations.
Thank you. I think that answers my question. You know, I'm kind of trying to think ahead about this a little bit, and just was, you know, one thing that occurred to me in the context of this conversation was that, you know, my clients and my prospective clients are accustomed to seeing us on video live, and I could see how, you know, a person who opts out of that level of service could go to a page where from that point forward, the images that they would see and the video that they would see of us would all be animated versions of ourselves, you know, which would be something that would be more in keeping with the, you know, both the product that's being delivered, the demand that people have for it, and the aesthetic that people who want that kind of product are accustomed to seeing.
And Michael, I mean, I'm not sure if you kind of got this far down the process yet, but you know, when people go from your website and click through into Guidr, actually what they do see is a personalized page of it's Guidr branded, don't get me wrong, but it is a personalized page to you. So there'll be some nice friendly images of you guys and, you know, your details, your phone number, your email address in case they do want to contact you and all that kind of good stuff. So, you know, what that does, it, you know, I guess it, to a point, it digitizes the relationship a little bit. But they have got your details, which is the whole point of this. Yeah, the reason they don't go to LegalZoom is that they may still want to contact their local law firm. And the great thing for you is you haven't let that customer go on the basis that they can't afford your service at this moment in time. You've given them a viable alternative which solves their problem and kept them as a customer, because they still relate Guidr to you, not to some faceless SIS platform like LegalZoom and Wills and Trust.
Perfect. Thank you. Dinesh, I saw that your hand was up. Comment?
No, I was just gonna say that we do the same thing Bree does. Just go to the purple button. We play it up because it totally clashes with our colors too. And the first thing I thought when I saw it on the website, when it magically popped up after implementation, was, what am I going to do with that? And it's very easy. It's like, hey, go, if you're on our website, if you click the purple button that you really can't miss, it'll take you right to our information page on it. So we play it up just like that. It does clash, but.
And to highlight something you said, Michael, I just want you to know, I'll just give you all a insight into what happened in the back room when all this was being developed, and it might crack some smiles. One of the things we actually considered was allowing firms to, and ultimately the consumer, to build their own personal Guidr avatar. And I would say that will come in time, but we chose to spend all those efforts on giving us more legal products and services currently. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing the vision, Michael, that down the road, people that are doing self-help stuff in this world, we call it self-service at Guidr. They're used to that younger, hipper, more, you know, avatarish type stuff. So all kinds of cool things we could do with it down the road.
Insta snapping. That's my new term that you said, Eric. The other thing I wanted to bring up, so Mary Catherine, you brought up a question about holiday, you're doing holiday cards and this, that, and the other thing. Well, the team is still working on the whole gift card, gift certificate type of process, like figuring out how that workflow would be. Eric did have an idea, and just promo codes for everybody out there. Don't forget you can do promo codes. So Mary Catherine, to get you to the and would be a promo code of some sort. It would be like if you need online legal documents for your family, please pass along holiday 15 or whatever it may be. For those of you that are unsure how to use your promo codes, in your Guidr section of the website, Britt does really quick, great informative videos. And there's a video in there about how to do promo codes. And for our new people on the call, one of the things that we have been absolutely suggesting to team members is make sure everybody in the team has a promo code, because you never know where they are out in the community. If they come across someone and they literally say, like to Dinesh's point, hey, listen, you're getting ready and to leave the country. Why don't you get yourself some proper documents in place? Just go to my website, click on the purple button and put in Dinesh 10. I'm going to save you 10%. So that's also a nice marketing thing, tracking element that you can utilize. And to your question, Mary Catherine, about the holiday cards, I would bring back to Tim and say, let's give a holiday promo and call it like holiday 25. And you know that that 25% came specifically from that mailing.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Erich, thank you for chiming in. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Ella,
RMS partners too.
RMS
Special
partners.
codes for our RMS partners.
Everybody
Absolutely.
should have a special code. Everybody. Ella, hi, thanks for joining us.
I've been here. I just don't have my video on because
Yeah,
I'm
no, it's
definitely
okay.
working.
We'd love to see a face with the name.
So question, we've been soft marketing Guidr to our referrals, and we did print up a brochure and we've been handing them out and we've been encouraging people to visit Guidr, and so far we've only had one person.
Okay.
So I don't think we're doing it right, but my firm now is worried about dumping money into it and hard pushing it if we can't soft push it. Because so if we start taking the time and going and doing presentations and like hard marketing it and going out there and we don't get anyone, then we just wasted a lot of time and money. Whereas right now we're going to our financial advisors and the social workers and we're saying, this is a really cool thing. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll tell people, and then nothing. What do you recommend? Are they not hyping it enough when they're presenting it?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. So from a marketing perspective, so the first thing that we always say about Guidr is it's not field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. You have to have just like you have a marketing plan for every single element within your company. Guidr needs to be put into that toolbox, and you need to work it into every part of your conversation. If you're doing a soft push and talking to advisors and they're saying, yeah, this is great, I'll get to it when I get to it, or thanks for letting me know, your tool is not their top of mind, right? So it's just another tool that they have in their toolbox. So I want to challenge the thought of pushing it soft and not getting anything and not going aggressive, because you should be having a marketing plan to bring Guidr to market and figure out how you're working it into conversations. There's a lot of hands going up like crazy right now, so I'm going to stop off of that. But Ella, just as a side note, if you want to talk offline about where we can peel back the layers of your current marketing plan and see what you are doing and figuring out where we might need to plug this in. But my last statement is you got to look at Guidr as another service that you offer, and it needs to just be a part of your marketing plan. It's not right? You if you're going to embrace it, you want to embrace it and you want to put everything into it, and you want to have a plan of how you bring it to market. You can't rely on your financial advisors and a conversation to do all the work for you. So I don't know whose hand went up first. First I saw Guy's, then it went down, then Bree, Dinesh, Dave Zampano. So Guy, anything? Or do you want to pass it?
No, I think you've kind of gone into it. I mean, I think it has to be, specific marketing. You're going to get, in my view, and other people might answer this, but you're going to get two types of people coming in. You're going to get the people that come in and have the conversation with you, and you point them in that direction and they will go there. But I don't think there'll be too many of those people, because you're marketing for personal service. So that's what people are coming to you for on that basis. But I think Lisa's right, and she's the expert in this area, that if you then you come up with campaigns that target specific ages, maybe using InstaSnap and the other social media platforms that are out there, and you know, those kind of things, then you know, you are going to attract people that will just come to you for Guidr, and actually they might not even contact you. They might just click straight through on, if you are on Instagram, or you know, you're doing it through LinkedIn, or you're doing it through Facebook, whatever you're doing it through, they can click straight on the link and just go straight to your page in Guidr. And that's the ideal scenario, right? Because you're really not spending any time at all then dealing with that person until the end. And I've always said at the end, you know, eventually, you know, at the moment, Guidr is a referral service. And in the not too distant future, with some of the stuff that we're adding, it'll become not just a referral service, but a marketing platform and a nurturing platform. And you're going to get people through your own advertising and through the stuff that we plan to do in the future. You're going to get people going in, putting the postcode in, finding you as their local lawyer, and then going through the guided process. And at the end, then you have the opportunity to obviously sign off their document, but also speak to them. And, you know, at that point, if I was you, I'd be phoning them up saying, look, you know, my name's Guy, I'm from EPLC. I just want to let you know that I've had a look through your documents, they're perfect. I'm about to sign them off, so you're going to get an email. Oh, and by the way, you know, if you've got any other issues, or we offer these other services, or can I add you to our newsletter list? And that's why it then becomes a nurturing platform as well, because you're nurturing future clients. So there's a whole bunch of things that it does now, and it will do in the future that, you know, will make the effort that you put in now well worthwhile. But I do think you need to think about who your target market is and how you're going to reach them.
Thank you, Guy. I appreciate that feedback. Okay, I have 4 people, all well, not all attorneys, but all involved in law firms. I want to acknowledge the time. We're supposed to end at 11 o'clock, that gives, or 11 Eastern, that gives us 8 minutes. Of my 4 people with their hand raises, do any of you have a hard stop? No, Dave does. Okay, because Dave Zampano has a hard stop. You can answer first.
So I thanks for the comment, Ella. But I'm going to bring back some simple, fundamental concepts around marketing, particularly around RMS marketing. You said you're using it with your RMS. I want to remind you of a couple of things. Number one, RMS marketing is based on a deck of cards, right? How do we come up with a deck of cards concepts? Well, in the years of using RMS, we realized that there's 4 aces in every deck, right? So there's an old story, the 6 of clubs. You meet someone and you like them and all, but they're really a 6 of clubs, but you're trying to make them an ace. So you get out your pencil and eraser and try and make that 6 of clubs an ace. And it's not, it's just a 6 of clubs. So we know we've built an RMS process to eradicate that. But what we found in that RMS process, and I think, Ella, this is important for everyone to remember, you're going to get 1 forward for 13 that you dance with. So, for example, we always say if you do 13 synergy meetings, you're actually going to get 1 of those 13. They're actually going to have that 2nd or 3rd meeting with you, right? And then of the 1 of the 13 that has that 2nd or 3rd meeting with you, 1 of those 13 will become a decent referral source, right? So, first of all, don't think this is a one-trick pony. You go out once, you wave the flag, and all of a sudden people are breaking down your doors. Number 2, what you got to realize is most of your referral sources do not have your or serve your target market. They do not serve young people. So they really don't have anyone to refer to you. Now, what we've been doing more and more in all of our efforts is at our maintenance events, we are at every maintenance event creating ways for our clients to do planning for their children and grandchildren. So we just had our maintenance event and we were talking about, hey, this is the greatest gift you can give your grandchildren for Christmas. Get them a Guidr gift certificate. Okay. So you got to remember your referral sources don't, have your target market, that target market either. It's a totally different world we're in with Guidr. There's nowhere in any estate planning firm I've ever met to date that has marketing to young people, because that's not their profit center, okay? It's a very different world, and we got to kind of make that mindset, which goes to my 3rd and final point. Just like the workshop in our system is not a marketing event, right? We always say it is the first step of the estate planning process. It is part of our underlying infrastructure. Guidr has to become part of your underlying infrastructure. It's an infrastructure that you have to service a market. No different than workshops service the elderly. And so that's my final thought, that you got to start thinking of Guidr as not as only a tool, but as an infrastructure way of you providing your services to a whole demographic, which, as Lisa will tell you, is a whole different way of marketing. It's a whole different RMS as well, as we're learning about, first responders. So those are my only initial comments that I bring back. Don't think that, you go out and do one thing and have a bunch of people beating your door down.
No.
It's going to be consistent and regular, and you got to consistently do it.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that input. Bree, I know you have to run. Would like to hear your perspective to help Ella.
Yeah, so another way that EPLC's kind of worked Guidr into its whole process is that, and the way that I've been talking to members is you have to work it in the same way as if you're doing relationship reviews. So the same way as you bring the referral tracker to those meetings to say, hey, Joe Smith, John Jones, and whoever else, signed up for this type of plan. It's, hey, I noticed that nobody's come through using your Guidr code. And is there something we can do, to encourage your clients to use it? The other part that we've started to do too is noticing that some of our more seasoned financial professionals, I won't call them older, are now adding some young guys to their team or young guns and saying like, hey, one of our top guys is Dan Jones, to say, okay, Dan, you send us your high level clients, are you adding younger people to your team that, maybe want to hit up the, 25 to 32 demographic? And, at 36, I have a financial advisor. And if I didn't work for the Estate Planning Law Center, imagine if they presented me with something like, hey, you're paying attention to your finances, but do you know that you also need a healthcare proxy and a power of attorney? And the other piece that I want to stress, and this goes to all of you attorneys on the call and even the team members, is it's not just one person's job in the firm to market what you do. This goes to a general concept. It is all of your responsibilities to get out the message. At EPLC, it's all about family. And now we have a way that your family can now go online and get online documents. And working it into every single conversation, because everyone in the office, and this is just my personal opinion, and I'll take pushback, is you all have your own relationships and you're all responsible for RMS at some extent. And Guidr is the easiest way to start bringing in those topics into conversation. I'm talking about it at happy hours on Friday. I'm bringing it up with friends that are having kids or are getting married. Like, hey, you've now hit a major milestone. You need this now. And I now have the easiest way for you to get it. And by the way, please use BLM 10 so that my team can see that this is my referral to Guidr. So
I love it, Bree. Thank you. Yes, Bree, she's fun at top parties. You can see that her passion is just spewing out. But I do just want to acknowledge the comment above that it's not just for young people. We've had interest for people who have had a hard time coming to the office, who want to have family members help them do their docs online. Absolutely couldn't agree more. We say that Guidr now opens, thanks, Guy, nice seeing you too. Guidr opens up the opportunity to serve people that 18 plus demographic. So yes, to clarify, it's not just for those young people, it is for everyone. I know we have 1 minute to go, and for those of you that can hang on, it's been a great conversation, but Dinesh and then Erich. So Dinesh, what insight?
Okay, so really quick, we've been focusing a lot lately on social workers and realtors, but to answer the question that was asked about the financial advisors, one strategy that I'm going to take when I do start talking to more financial advisors about this, because we've piqued a few interests with it. When I sit down to talk to them about it, I'm going to make them my sales staff and get them excited about it. So it's another value add for them too. If they're sitting across from their client talking about their financials, they're always going to say, what estate planning do you have in place? If their client says nothing, rather than them saying or being trained to say, well, check out Guidr, why not have them trained to say, I can get you set up with your wills and powers of attorney right now for this price, and get them on Guidr, have them be your drafter right there. So now you've got something in as a lead magnet. They're already your client now through that financial advisor. So if you can build excitement and say, hey, you're going to add more value to your clients by being able to do this stuff for them on the spot with us in the background supporting you, and it takes 15 minutes out of your time, and it helps all of us, they're going to jump on it. They're not going to just randomly throw it out there in their client meetings because it's something they happen to have in their back pocket. Now they're being a huge value add to their client on the spot. Your turn, Erich.
Okay, Erich, tag, you're it.
Yeah, it's going to be a little similar to what Dinesh said, but also different, because same but different is awesome. I think that one of the things that we have to do is really provide good context to the people that we're talking to about when Guidr is an appropriate opportunity. How many of us have heard from a financial advisor, oh my gosh, this person really needs an estate plan. I told them to call you. They're so resistant. They don't ever want to do it. Guess what? Have them go to Guidr. At least they get something in place. It's better than nothing. So find those ways in which the financial planner can say, look, if you're not willing to call Ella or Dinesh or somebody and sit down and actually do this the right way, or the complete way, go online, 30 minutes. And you know what? I've got a discount code because I've got this special relationship with this attorney, and you can do it at, you know, a reduced price. You can get it done in 30 minutes. Then you've at least got something. I think you know, providing that almost like a script to the financial advisor. Here's when it's a really great opportunity to push Guidr for a client. Might help move the needle a little bit.
I love it. Thank you so much. So Ella, your question opened up great conversation. I hope you, do you want to do any reflection or asking any questions and clarifying anything? Did the feedback from fellow attorneys and law firms help you?
I think that the problem is probably the excitement level, because right now the attorneys are the ones that are meeting with these people, and I always, okay, did you talk about Guidr? What did they say? What did they think? What did you say to them? Did you say these things? And I get the feedback from them. And based off of what everybody is saying, it's probably not, they're not making it an excitement like Dinesh said.
Yeah, and the other thing, so how large is your team? You have a relatively large team over there at your law firm, right?
I think there's 16 of us total. There's 4 attorneys. And only 2 of the attorneys are marketing right now. When we get into, if we get into targeting like the fire departments and social workers and stuff, I'll be the one who will be going out and doing the presentations. So I'll know that I can make them a success rather than relying on them. But I've also been there with the social workers, and I've been the one to pitch Guidr and try to get the excitement. And it seems relatively good, and then I leave and then there's nothing. And I even give them the promo code, build the hype, and then there's no results.
So are you, you know, again, we could talk offline, but so a couple things that come to mind is you have 16 people, all 16 of those people should understand how cool this thing is. That's 16 people boot on the grounds in your community that I'm sure talk about what they do outside of work. So absolutely get everybody engaged on the team. And the other thing is, you know, a conversation is good. It's the follow-up that comes after it as well. So if you're out there talking to social workers about certain things, then you can build a drip email campaign to create that top of mind awareness where it costs just your time or a little bit of money if you don't have anybody to do it for you. So it's things like that you have a conversation and put yourself in their shoes. You know, this is what you do all day long, and then somebody comes in, they talk about this, and then they leave. It was a great conversation. They leave, and then you go back to work and doing everything that you're doing. And you remember them when crisis strikes or a certain need comes up, or they start nurturing you with emails and helping create that top of mind awareness, that educational aspect of things. So that just might be something you want to think about, is like maybe for 2023, build out a follow-up email campaign or something along those lines, just to help create that top of mind awareness when you're talking to all of your financial professionals and social worker professionals as well. So our conversation keeps dwindling down more and more. I can't express how much I appreciate you guys hanging on for the extra 5 minutes. I hope today's conversation was informative and that everybody took away something out of this conversation. As always, we have the Guidr listserv where you can communicate with anybody from the team. You have the website, and you can always tap us on the shoulder from the marketing department if you want to start building out your marketing plans and creating that marketing journal that Erich can give you some insight on that. And I know David Wood, we are starting all of that process as well. So we're really excited. Any questions before we take off? No, Mary Catherine, Dave, Madison, Ella, anybody? We're good? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.